Oh, my candle.
Oh yeah, and the delay, you adjust
The latency?
delay thing, yeah,
Yeah, I
latency.
did. I did, but let me just make sure that I did stream settings. Yep, I put it on ultra low.
Live.
Awesome.
See, I can hear you. Sound is good.
And I cannot find my chat.
And the camera may need a little adjustment.
Okay. Is that better? Oh, it takes a while.
I'm waiting for it to uptake. Yeah, that is a little better.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So your delay's a little bit longer than normal.
Feels like it.
And then I hear you. Okay, I think you're like 2 or 3 seconds behind, so I think
Okay.
it's good. Yep. You can see everything pretty straight. I can hear you.
Try to be in the middle.
I think you are good to go.
All right. Thank you, sir. See you after. Okay. Hi, everybody. We are getting ready to get started. I want to welcome you this evening to your practice and welcome to my channel. This is AWH Yoga. My name is Anna. I am so excited that you're here. I am really looking forward to leading you guys tonight in this practice. So tonight we will be doing a 60-minute flow. This will be a fundamentals flow. So what that means is we will be working systematically through our practice and through our postures in order to sort of arrive at our peak posture. So our peak this evening is going to be Ustrasana or camel pose. So at the outset, camel might not seem like the most exciting yoga pose you've ever heard of. It's not like flying camel or crazy camel or anything like that, but I assure you that the benefits from this back bend, as well as the back bends that we will use to prepare for this posture, have tons and tons of benefits. So it really encourages an uplifted mood, a reduction in stress and anxiety, and really creates an openness in the upper back and in the chest that for the breath. So I hope that at the end of the practice, you will be soaking up those benefits and really feeling good. And I'm glad and excited that you took this practice, as excited as I am to share it with you. So as I mentioned, we will be working toward that pose, and it will be important that we warm up certain areas of the body in order to prepare for that. So what we will be focused on is the internal action of the thighs. So we will encourage the body to warm up to that. We, of course, will be opening up the chest. We'll be working toward an external rotation of the upper arms, as well as shoulder extension. In addition, we will, of course, always be working through our core elements, which, of course, is present in any posture. But I think you'll be surprised at how much of the sort of workload of this pose is actually in the lower body, even though it's a back bend. So can't wait to share that with you. I do recommend using a block this evening or something similar that we can use to encourage that internal action. So I actually have this pillow that I found that I'm not even sure if I have the couch anymore, but you can use something like this. Something that's more dense would probably be better, or a yoga block. If you don't have that, I will certainly be cueing the action so that you can work in your body even without those types of props. Other props would be towel, blanket, straps, anything like that. But the most important thing about anything that I just said is that this next 58.5 minutes is to serve you. So I am just here to lead you, and you do what your body needs, do what your body is calling for. Take this time for yourself to connect with your breath, be present in the moment, and just enjoy the yoga. So without further ado, let's get started. Join me on the mat, and we are going to start on our backs this evening. As you lay on your back, on your mat, trying to find the calm spaces in the chaos of your day. Instead, just find the breath. Notice the breath as it moves in and out of the body, flowing with ease. As you notice the breath, maybe you also notice there are some outside sensations or sounds that are competing for your attention. No stranger to us, as this is all of our days and nights, just competing priorities. But for now, your only priority is your breath and being here in this moment. Begin to lengthen your inhales and your exhales. Maybe you count in your mind to 3 or 4, trying to measure out nice long breaths in, long breaths out. And as you do this, you notice your body relaxing 1 more inch down onto your mat. And you notice that there's a pleasant heaviness in your limbs as you let the earth support you. Continue breathing here, and I want you to notice the position of your body on the mat in this relaxed posture. So I didn't mention any specific cues or requirements of the body positioning. How did your body find itself? It's likely that your legs are slightly turned out at the hips. It's likely that your palms are up and your arms are slightly rotated out. This is the natural position of the body. And I note this so that when we move through our practice this evening and we move into different postures, you can connect this more relaxed and natural action with our deliberate and finely tuned actions through the asanas. And also note the very wonderful and specific benefits of both of those things. One more breath here. Exhale out. If it's in your practice to set an intention, this is a beautiful moment to do that. If you find yourself struggling to find an intention, you can also dedicate this practice to someone. And that someone can be you. One more nice deep breath. Exhale out. Beautiful. You can open your eyes very slowly. And your limbs, though heavy, become ready to invite some movement. And as you allow that movement to move closer to the center of your body, maybe you roll your ankles, maybe you roll your wrists. Slowly just move that energy from the outward ways in. And bring your knees up to your chest. And just take a moment here, hugging your knees nice and tight, leaving your back of your head on the floor for now, but just curling in the legs and the chest. Take a deep breath here. Exhale out. And then I want you to clasp both of your knees with your palms. We're just going to roll on our backs just a little bit, just to get a little bit of movement. So feel where the small of your back is. And as you move your knees kind of around in a circle, you can kind of feel that roundness. And you can move to the right, making a circle there. And after you've done a couple there, you can move to the left. If you feel so inclined, I would not even be opposed to a crazy beginning of practice, happy baby. Just slowly getting the body ready to move. And when you feel complete, come to stillness. And then I want you to place your feet flat on the ground, knees up. So your feet and your knees are hips width distance apart. And this is a great time for your blocks or your pillow, as I mentioned. So take your block or your pillow and place it between your thighs. We're going to move into a couple dynamic bridges. So first thing I want to point out here in this early posture is that we just felt where the small of our back was when we had our knees up in the air and we were kind of rolling around. When you place your feet flat on the floor, the tendency is to have that small arch beneath your back. Draw your navel to your spine until you feel the small of your back on the ground again. You should also notice that this corresponds to an automatic action in the quadriceps and thighs. So these two things really work together to prepare the lower body and the midsection of the body for our bridge pose. So again, feet are flat on the ground. Place your palms down on the mat. Maybe move your feet up another inch. They don't have to be touching your hands are all the way back. Drawing the navel to the spine, creating the small of your back on the ground, and then you're going to lift your hips up to the sky. And as you do so, drawing the energy from your tailbone back toward your legs. That engagement also is going to encourage the body to be utilizing that internal action of the thighs. Now keep breathing here. Chest is moving toward the chin, but we're not going to be here for long. And then exhale back down slowly. So just take a moment to remove your prop. So as you move your block away, you can probably already feel that your body was kind of like still in that position because you were working very hard in that moment, kind of like when you take off your like roller skates or rollerblades and you still felt like they were on. So that's a really good thing. I want you to remember that as we move throughout the practice. So again, place your block or your pillow between your thighs. Engage your thighs, thinking internally rotating them out. So if we were standing up, it would be like you were trying to push the block out behind you. Palms flat to the floor. We're going to do a couple of these dynamically, so a little bit faster this time. So inhale, hips to the sky, chin and chest trying to meet each other, and exhale back down. Get a full exhale, even if you need to relax into the ground for that. Inhale up and exhale back down. Continue doing a couple of these on your own breath cycle. Exhaling back down. Remember, your breath, your rhythm, your breath is like your own personal soundtrack. No one else has the same breath, just like no one has the same fingerprint. 2 more of these. Exhaling back down. 1 more. Exhaling back down. Nice. Carefully remove the block or the pillow and then bring your knees back into your chest. Hold them nice and tight. Kind of feel the difference after the work that the thighs just did. And then you can choose here if you want to do a rock and roll, if you're ready for that, or if you want to push over to your side, balance on your hip and lift up, but meet me in a seated position. So I'm going to cross my right leg over. Didn't get my rock and rolls in this morning. My dad always does these in the morning, so I always think about him when I do these. Let's do 1 more if you're doing it. And back up to a seated posture. Really nice. So we've already been introducing the body to some movement, but not specifically yet for the spine. So I want to get a little bit of the spine involved. We mentioned that thoracic mobility is really going to come into play, so we're going to warm up pretty well. So in a seated position, Sukhasana, you can place blocks underneath if you need them. Place your palms on your knees and get a pretty decent grip here. We're going to get a little bit of activity from the upper body and the lower body. So we're going to do cat-cow seated. So on your inhale, arch your back, chest and chin toward the sky. Inhale, cow pose. And then exhale, round the belly, navel goes toward the back of the spine, cat pose. Inhale to your cow pose. And exhale, nice long breath, cat pose. And as you can see, I'm kind of getting my arms really involved here. And I encourage you to do the same. Continue moving on your own breath, but don't be afraid to sort of get the body involved. 1 more breath here. And exhale. So continuing with that, coming back to stillness, remembering always that these transitions are also an asana, being mindful. We'll do a little more movement here. So I would say this way is clockwise, I think. Keeping your hands here, we're going to kind of think of that rotating movement again, but get the whole body kind of like moving from the waist up. So when you're ready, inhale and then do clockwise, getting a little bit more movement. Nice deep breath. Keeping the breath going. Maybe as you do this, you get a little bit deeper to the right and the back and the left. Trying to keep your sits bones on the floor. Your legs might come up a little bit, but I think that's okay. I really just want you to get that movement in the spine. You want to be safe, but you really want to kind of get that going. Might be a little bit challenging with the blocks underneath. You might have to drop it down to a blanket or a towel. Maybe coming back through the center and then switch sides. I dare you to do the exact same amount that we did the other way. If you were counting, then many points for you. Keep breathing here, really inviting that movement. Spine's waking up, rib cage is waking up, lower back's getting involved, even the upper body. Let's do 1 more this way. Nice. So hopefully you are awake. I'm definitely feeling more awake. Let's move into our tabletop posture. So in tabletop, we find our palms beneath our shoulders and knees beneath our hips. I want you to feel the engagement of your shins and kind of where your shoelaces would go on the ground. So instead of just feeling like the foundation points of this posture are just, oh, my palms and my knees, really root down through this part as well. As you breathe here and settle into the posture, we want to move everything toward the midline. Already think about externally rotating those outer upper arms and squeezing these side hips in. But while doing so, you want to expand the collarbones, but also move the shoulder blades apart. Thinking about all of those kind of in sequence. Take a breath here. Exhale. Let's move into cat-cow again. So really, again, we're warming up the spine. So on your inhale, belly drops, chin and chest up. Inhale to your cow pose. Exhale, cat pose, round the back. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Let's do one more here. Exhale, cow. Cat pose. How could I ever mess that up? All right, coming back to stillness now. I want you to take an opportunity. I'm going to face you as I do this. So our postures tonight are really focused on having a neutral hip alignment, and Ustrasana is in a similar fashion. However, I never want us to feel like we're neglecting our hip flexors will get involved and really opening our hips. So if you're anything like me, you always have tight hips. So I'm going to try something new and we'll see how we like it. So from your tabletop, I want you to curl your back right toes. You can lift your knee up slightly, maybe using your foot as a kickstand, and then keeping everything else positioned the same. So drawing into the midline, extend your right leg out. So you're kind of in a tabletop position, kind of with your leg out, similar to gate. So we're going to kind of move into a dynamic one-legged child's pose. So try to get that foot flat on the ground with your short edge of your mat parallel to the outside of your foot. Keep that leg nice and strong. Draw the belly to the spine. Take a breath in. And then on your exhale, sit back down on your left heels. And then on your inhale, come back up to tabletop, no further than you were. And exhale back down to your heel. Let's do a couple of these. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going on your own breath. And what we're doing as well is we're keeping the external rotation of the outer upper arms, and we're also mimicking what our legs are going to be doing later in Ustrasana, but we're actually adding a challenge by just doing one leg, really isolating it. Let's do one more. And then come back to stillness, really nice. Bring your right leg carefully back to that parallel tabletop position. Kind of wiggle it out if you need to. I definitely need to. And then we'll move on to the other side. So from your tabletop position, curl your left back toes under, slightly lift your left knee, squeezing everything toward the midline still so nothing kind of falls out the other side. And then extend your left leg out just like gate pose, aiming to have your foot parallel with the short side of your mat, feeling the opening in those hip flexors. So everything else stays the same. And let's take an inhale together. And then exhale back down, sit on your right heel. And then back up. And then exhale back down. And then inhale up. Pressing down through the shin and the top of that foot. Really feeling how strong that right leg is, how much it's engaged, and just doing something where you actually have a lot of foundation points on the ground still. Let's do two more like this. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. And inhale back up. Nice. We want to get back to our tabletop mindfully, squeezing everything toward the midline, navel toward the spine, bringing your left foot back in, placing it carefully down so it's parallel, and back to our tabletop. I'm going to turn sideways again. From our tabletop position, curl both feet under, hover those knees, bringing everything into the midline, and then when you're ready, 1, 2, 3, hips to the sky. It's downward dog. First downward dog of the evening. Take a moment here to really feel out where you are. We spent a lot of time in our warm-up and opening, focusing on the upper body and the upper back. Now we're just getting into the legs. Oh, I got an ankle crack there. You can actually even lift up your feet all the way, kind of like you're running, really getting the calves stretched out. Whatever your body is calling for here, just go for it. And then make sure you're taking up lots of space on your mat. Maybe your wrists are the wrist creases are slightly spent out a little bit. This really helps me for my shoulders to position it. Your heels are aiming toward the floor, toward the mat. They don't have to be on the mat. Knees are bent generously, especially for now. I usually keep my knees bent during most of practice for down dog. Take a breath here. Exhale out. Now, keeping your knees bent, look forward between your palms, hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Meet me in a ragdoll. So in ragdoll, really utilize the weight of your head to pull you forward. So the weight is forward in this posture. Knees stay bent. As you have your knees bent, feet, hips width distance apart, feel the engagement in those legs. You're still squeezing those outer hips in. This isn't just passive where your legs are falling out like in our first practice. You're keeping them engaged by actively moving them internally using that internal action. You can clasp both elbows here if that's comfortable for you, or just continue to reach toward the floor. But I encourage you to utilize the weight of your head, bringing you forward. Feel the length that you can get in your upper back and in your lower back. Whenever you think about fold, always think about length. One more good breath here. And exhale. Keep those knees bent. And then I want you to curl up super slow. Last person up wins. Maybe grazing your body on the way up to really encourage that you take all the time in the world. Really coming up super slow. Chin comes off the chest, and then arms raise up with energy. Shoulders stay soft, palms to heart center. And exhaling your arms down into mountain pose. Beautiful. So we're going to move into some of our sun salutations. So I feel like the body is warm-ish, and now we're going to get all the way warm. So join me at the front of your mat. Inhale your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale through heart center, bend the knees, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Palms flat to the floor, step both feet back, plank pose, hold. In your plank pose, just like our tabletop, squeezing everything toward the midline, probably drop your butt down. You want to have that nice long line of energy coming out through the crown of your head as well as through the heels from the back of your body. One more breath. Now drop your knees, everybody. Squeezing the elbows in, pitch forward a couple of inches, and then lower yourself slowly all the way down to the mat. Super slow. Nice. Take a moment to settle in here. Take up the space on your mat. Figure out where you need to be. Place your forehead on the mat. Continue breathing as we set up. Now take your hands on either side of your body and place them down next to you, palms down. So your hands are facing your legs. Now, root down where your shoelaces would be. Feel the engagement that corresponds to that. Draw your tailbone towards your heels. Feel that change in your pelvis on the floor. And then what I want you to do is on your breath, inhale, lift forward and up. Lift your chest and your chin off the mat and then raise your arms up slightly, Shalabhasana. Take a couple breaths here. Broadening the chest, arms don't go too high. Don't sacrifice the good, smooth breath for your arms or chest being too high. One more. Exhale back down. If it's comfortable for you, place your right cheek on the mat. You can let go of engagement in your legs. You can feel the difference more so when you release between these postures. One more breath. Nice. And let's do the other side. So forehead back to the mat. Again, fingers are facing down towards your feet, palms flat on the mat next to your body. push down where your shoelaces would go. Feel the engagement in your legs. Draw your tailbone toward your heels. Feel the change in the pelvis. And then when you're ready, lift up on your breath, just your upper back. So that's your chest lifting up and your head lifting up. And don't crank the neck back. So keep that spine nice and long. You're just looking up a couple inches in front of you. And then if you can, lift the arms. Shalabhasana. A couple breaths here. This posture is really good to prepare us later for Ustrasana. One more breath. And exhale back down. If you chose the right cheek last time, flip to the left cheek and take 2 breaths here. Beautiful. Bring your forehead back to the front of the mat. Place your palms to about where your upper ribs would be. Glue your elbows in. Press down to where your shoelaces would be, and then pulling everything into the midline. Lots of energy. Lifting back up. You can go through your tabletop, knees down plank, pop up through chaturanga, whatever you're ready for. Meet me in downward dog. Nice. Take a moment here. Really get situated in that down dog. How different does your body feel in this second one? One breath here. Exhale out of the mouth. Look forward between your palms, bend your knees, hop, step, or float. Meet me at the front of the mat in your forward fold, in your halfway lift. And then I want you to forward fold and then root to rise. Arms come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, palms through heart center. Exhale, hands by your side, mountain pose. Nice. Let's continue the movement. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, palms to the floor, both feet back. Gluing everything toward that midline from our plank pose. Knees can drop, pinning the elbows in, pitching forward a few inches, drop down halfway. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or Cobra. Exhale to downward dog. Getting situated, inhale, look forward between your palms, hop, step, or float, front of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, hands through heart center, down by your sides. Nice. Okay, we're going to do 2 sun bees sort of things coming up next, and hopefully you can see as we build toward our peak pose how some of these different component parts are coming in to play. So from the front of your mat, inhale, chair pose. Hips go back, weights in your heels, aiming for that neutral spine. Hands can be at heart center or biceps by the ears. Again, great place for block or pillow. I encourage you to place that block between your thighs, encouraging that internal action. So this is where I mentioned before. I know you're all holding chair pose. You got it. Keep going. If you had the ability to completely internally rotate, this block would shoot out the back. That's the action I want you to think about. Keep breathing here. One more breath. Can you drop another inch? Exhale, forward fold. Carefully remove your block. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to the floor. Both feet back, plank pose. Moving through your chaturanga or through your cobra. Exhale, meet me in down dog. Nice. From your down dog, inhale, right foot hip height. Knee to nose, right foot down between your palms. And what I want you to do from here is I want you to squeeze your outer hips in. Feel as though you don't actually have your hands to give any weight to. What would that be like? You'd have to really squeeze everything in to be able to have your hands free. You want to make sure you also have enough space before we go up into Warrior One. So I encourage you as we move up to evaluate this. Track that right knee over the right ankle. Put your left foot down at a 45-degree angle but completely flat. Squeeze those outer hips in. Raise up. Warrior One. From your Warrior One, soften your shoulders. Catch your breath. It was a lot to get up here. A lot in the foundation. Take a look at your feet. We always say feet should have their own lane, but really what we mean is our hips. We want to give enough space to our hips. So in Warrior One, hips are aiming toward the front. You want to aim your hips toward the front, give your hips enough space, but move your torso and rib cage. Arms up. Now exhale, hands through heart center, palms back down to the floor. Make your left foot parallel again. Pop your right foot, chaturanga, or moving into your cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Beautiful. Deep breath here. Exhale, let it out. Prepare other side. Inhale, left foot up, hip height, knee to nose, tight curl. Get that Halloween cap back. Place your left foot between your palms. Now, get your foundation nice and strong. Squeezing in those outer hips as if you couldn't have hands to help you. As you check to make sure your left knee is over your left ankle, do you have enough space for your hips? Learn from last time. Placing your right foot down, 45-degree ankle, squeezing everything in all the way up. Warrior one. So in our warrior one, as we hold, just for a moment, is everything squeezing in? Do your hips have enough space? The alignment here for the foundation is heel to heel or wider. Heel to heel or wider. Shoulders soften away from the ears, but your arms are engaged, very strong. One more breath. And exhale, palms to heart center. Hands go down to the mat. Make parallel your right foot. Left foot goes back. Pinching those elbows in, tipping forward, halfway down. Inhale, Cobra Urdhva. Exhale, Svanasana. Beautiful. Looking forward between your palms. Hop, step, or float to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale through heart center and down by your side. Let's take a quick moment to ground and reset. You can choose to face me if you like. I just want to do a little bit of shoulder rotation here. So take a moment. I want you to feel all four corners of your feet flat on the ground. Draw your tailbone down to the floor as if you're going to be kind of in Tadasana mountain pose. Raise your shoulders to your ears. Inhale. Exhale. Now you're still probably in movement mode. Inhale. Exhale. So we're really chilling. There's a lot going on. And actually, we're still warming the body up as we move the shoulders, but we're okay. We got this. One more up. And back down. Let's reverse that. So back up and rolling forward. And back up. And rolling forward. Did you find your breath? And one more. Beautiful. Okay, let's move into our next sun bee. We're going to add on a little bit to this one. So chair pose, grazing the sides of your legs, sinking that weight into your heels. Maybe you have a block placed between you, aiming for that neutral, nice long energy out of the crown of the head. Hands can be in prayer or biceps by the ears. Sink down another inch, making sure that weight's in the heels. Internal action, you're moving the action of the thighs in, but your legs are clearly staying completely separate and parallel. One more breath. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, palms flat, both feet back, moving into your chaturanga or your cobra. Inhaling here. Exhaling back down, downward facing dog. Inhale your right foot up, hip height. Curl knee to nose. Arch that back. Place your right foot down between your palms. Make sure your hips have their own lane. Squeezing those outer hips in. Placing that left foot down, 45-degree angle, lifting up, warrior one. Now we've been here before. And let's add on. Make sure that knee is tracking over that ankle. It's not bowing out or bowing in, like a bow and arrow there. Bring your hands down to heart center just for a moment, and then stretch them all the way out. So great big wingspan. Now what I want you to do, hands like this, and then kind of do internally rotate to a thumbs down. So from out here in your warrior one legs, 2 thumbs down, and then moving your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and then move your interlaced fingers down your buttocks toward the floor. As you do this, make sure your legs are still positioned straight and strong, and you've not sacrificed any of your foundational alignment. Take an inhale, Open that chest. And then as you exhale, you're going to move down and to the left of your right knee. So inhaling, exhaling into humble warrior. That right shoulder's got a date with the inside of that right knee, and that's where we land. 2 breaths here. Where can you soften? How can you find strength but ease in this posture? 1 more breath. And then inhaling back up. Use that upper body, but squeezing into those outer hips will help you every time. Release the hands. Arms back up, externally rotating those outer upper arms. Feel the difference from that internal and external action. Hands to heart center. Keep always breathing. Palms down to the floor. Make the left leg parallel. Right leg back into plank. Pitching forward for your cobra or upward dog. Exhale, down dog. Left side. Inhale the left leg up. Inhale to the knees. Nice and strong. Do your hips have enough space? Track that left knee over the left ankle. Squeezing those outer hips in. Drop the right foot back down. 45-degree angle. Make it wider if you need more space. Squeezing everything in. Arms up, warrior 1. Now you know where we're going on this one. Take 1 more breath here. Bring your hands through heart center. Open up your wings. Feel the space in the chest. Turning your arms in. Internally rotating now back behind your back, clasping them. If you can't clasp them, you can grab either one of your elbows like we do in ragdoll. Pushing those clasped hands down the body, aiming to keep them there, and then opening that chest up. Switch sides. Opening that chest up on your inhale, and then on your exhale, dipping down and inside that leg. Have that left shoulder like it's like a magnet. It's going to meet up with that inside of that left knee. Arms are going up at this point. That's okay. What you want to do is not sacrifice your foundation. You're continuing with the bottom half to be squeezing in toward the midline. And this part of your body is operating independently. So these things are happening separately. 1 more breath here. Strong and soft. 1 more. Inhale up. Releasing your hands carefully. Arms back up to warrior 1, feeling the difference in that rotation. And then arms down through heart center. Palms flat to the floor, making parallel your legs again. Left foot goes back to meet right. Inhaling into your Urdhva Mukha Svanasana or Cobra. Exhale, down dog. Child's pose. You earned it. Couple breaths in child's pose here. You can choose to take child's pose with your knees together or with your knees apart and your toes together. Wherever you are, take some breath, take some rest. One more good breath here. Nice. Move yourself into a seated posture that's comfortable. I'm going to take a quick minute to explain a little bit about Ustrasana, our peak pose, and how we're going to approach that this evening. So we're going to give you 3 opportunities for Ustrasana, and I want to bring that to your attention because I want you to know that you can build each time. You don't have to just like go all out the first time, which sometimes can reduce the opportunity for you to feel some of the very specific and fine-tuned actions that make this pose more stable and can make you more effectively reach the full expression. So we're going to slow it down, but I assure you each attempt will be very challenging. So the first thing is, if you have a block for the first round, place that between your ankles so that your blocks width apart, and then sit down on your block. If you don't have a block, you can position your legs in this Virasana posture and just imagine that you had a block and just keep that width between your legs. Breathing here for just a moment. What I want you to do is I want you to press down on your shins and the tops of your feet where your shoelaces go while you're sitting here. So just stay seated and then pressing down. Can you isolate that movement and feel that automatic lift that you get? Breath here. Now pressing down, leaving the block between the ankles, come up onto your knees. Continue that rooting between through the shins and through the tops of your feet as you stay in this elevated position. So Ustrasana is a back bend that happens from the very upper back, the thoracic region, not the lower back, not our lumbar. It's not from our neck. It's just our upper back. So what's critical about this posture is that everything in the bottom half of the body and your trunk is really stable. So what I like to do is imagine, and you can actually do this on the wall, but imagine that you have a wall right in front of you that comes up to here. Okay? So keeping that in mind, pressing down again through your shins and the tops of your feet. Draw your tailbone toward the floor. As you do that, you'll feel the quadriceps turn on, hip flexors start to engage. Remember, you have a wall here, so you can't go out. Think about that internal rotation, internal action we've been talking about the whole time. That creates space in the lower back to keep your back safe as you move into this back bend. Walls coming up to here. Place your hands on your hips for this one. And then as we arrive here with everything pulled up, I want you to think of going up, 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 and then you can kind of go back over the wall. So try it. Everything's engaged, lifting up, inhale. Just the upper back, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, can be very subtle. And then coming back forward very carefully, bringing yourself very slowly back down onto your block, your heels, or your mat. I want you to take at least 3 breaths here before we move into the second option. As you can hear, I'm very out of breath just from cueing that. That can be a very energizing and stimulating position. So please take your rest very seriously. One more breath here. Beautiful. For the second option, I would love if you guys had a block to put the block between your thighs. We did this for chair pose. We did this for bridge pose. This really encourages the body to work on that internal action. Again, that internal action creates space for the lower back and keeps you safe. So pressing down through your shins and the tops of your feet, drawing your tailbone toward the floor, activating the internal rotation of those thighs. Maybe this time you place your hands in your jeans pockets. This will introduce the external rotation of the arms as well as starting to get that extension for the shoulder, which is toward the full expression of the posture. Think of your wall all the way up, and then when you're ready and everything else is stable, let that part go back. So try it. As you exhale, keep the breath smooth. If you can't get a smooth breath, come out of it slightly. An inch in this posture makes a huge difference. If you watch yourself in the mirror ever, you can definitely see. One more breath. And back down. Again, remove the block or pillow very carefully. Come down super slowly to your heels or your mat. Couple breaths here. Reset. Take it easy on yourself. This can be very, very intense. Fantastic upper body opening, but it can be really, really stimulating. One more breath here. Nice. Okay, let's try it again. So I'm going to do the block between my thighs again. You can select something that you felt was really working or something you'd like to build on. The full expression of the posture, as you've probably seen, does have the shoulder extension, externally rotated arms, and leaning back where the arms are touching blocks or all the way back to the floor. That's not accessible for me. If you do attempt to move through that, just know that as you work back, both of your arms should be going back at the same time, and you should be coming up together at the same time. Don't do one side and then the other. So pressing down with your shins and the tops of your feet, drawing the tailbone to the floor, feeling the engagement in the quads and hip flexors, lifting up out of the waist, broadening the collarbones, walls up to here, hands in our jean pockets, shoulders away from the ears, feeling that extension in the chest. Inhale, up, 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 and then back. Couple breaths here. This is one of those postures where each time you build, coming back, slowly removing the props, coming back down to sit. Each time you build on it, you will be able to notice tomorrow or later this evening such a difference in this region of your body, even though you didn't feel like you were doing Instagram Ustrasana. So take a couple more breaths here, and then we're going to move into our cool down. A child's pose is also a great posture to add here. In fact, I'm probably going to do one for myself quickly. Just child's pose is always a nice reset. And remember, child's pose is available to you at any time. I always say in yoga or not, sometimes rest is offered and sometimes you need to take it. So if you're ever in a class and a teacher isn't cueing enough child's poses, take your child's pose. One more breath here. Beautiful. So rooting down in those shins again, lifting up with the core, finding yourself in a seated position. We're going to do a twist here. So a seated twist. So twists are actually a neutralizing posture. So something I certainly didn't learn until yoga training, because I never would have thought that because they seem sort of off kilter, but they are always used to neutralize the spine. So additionally, you're getting some great twisting benefits. So find your sits bones. And legs are engaged, toes point to the sky out in front of you. And then lift your right knee to the body, placing your right foot flat on the mat. As you pull your knee in, I want you to kind of determine if you feel comfortable, you can cross your right leg over above your left knee while keeping that left leg strong and engaged, but only do so if you can keep your foot pretty much flat on the ground. Otherwise, just go ahead and keep your foot flat, but without crossing over. So I'm going to cross mine over. And then I want you to make sure you have engagement in that left leg. Sits bones stay where they are. Inhale your left arm up, and then you can cross and wrap around your right as you twist to the right and take your kind of cupcake creepy fingers all the way to the back corner of your mat, and then aim your gaze and your chin back over to your right shoulder. You'll feel this in the neck. You'll also feel this a lot of places, so please definitely note where your body is. If you're more accustomed to this twist, you can place your elbow here using different parts of your body as internal levers. But wherever you are, keep breathing. Want that nice, smooth breath. One more, drink it in. And then back to center. Carefully uncross if you were so crossed, and then place your right leg down next to your other leg. I feel like my leg got longer after I did that. Did you guys notice that? Take a deep breath in, and then bring your left knee into your chest so your foot is flat on the ground. And again, if you want to, check to see, can you cross that left leg over the right above the knee? Is your foot pretty much flat on the ground? If so, the full twist should be accessible to you. If not, placing it just straight. Inhale your right arm up, and then as you twist to the left, wrapping it around that left leg, fingers to the sort of back corner diagonally, aiming that chin and the gaze over the left shoulder. You're really working for a twist of the navel and torso because your sits bones are here. But what's really nice is the lift that you get. So as you twist around, think the lifting action as you look back over that left shoulder. Two more beautiful smooth breaths here. Make sure that right leg is still engaged. Don't want to forget about it. One more breath. Nice. Back to center. Carefully uncross your leg. Place your left leg down. Kind of give your legs a little bit of a squeeze. A thank you. Nice. We're going to do a quick forward fold, and then we'll move into figure four on our back because you should never neglect your hips. And then we'll be moving into our pretty much our final posture. So finding your sits bones again, inhaling both arms up this time, and then exhaling, lifting up out of that lower body, out of the waist, think length, and then folding over, Paschimottanasana. You can use your yogi toe grip here. Your knees can be bent. You can also just place your hands halfway down your leg or wherever they reach that allows you to have that length. So the first thing you always want to think about when you're moving through a fold of any kind is length. Couple more breaths here. Noticing that we are moving the body deliberately into this action that keeps our legs parallel versus folding out at the hip socket really makes you see how much work is involved in moving your body from relaxed to a deliberate placement, even when we're in something that feels passive like Paschimottanasana. One more breath. And on your inhale, coming back out with the same lift and length that you had, arms back above, hands come back down either side. Without any special magic of any kind needed, make your way to your back. So on your back, I want you to keep your feet flat on the floor, keep your knees up, so like our bridge pose setup. Now raise your right leg up directly from the hip socket and then cross it over so that your right outside of your ankle is over your left knee. So this is figure 4 on your back. Now, if you're ready for this, you can take both hands and kind of move them through this little window that you've created. Interlace your hands behind your left knee. Use your right forearm to press against the inside of your right leg and move your left leg toward the body. You want to keep the small of your back on the floor. Left shin is parallel to the ground. Both feet are flexed. This can be pretty intense, so keep breathing. This is often offered as an alternative to half pigeon, but it's no less intense. So sometimes it's a little more accessible for our bodies, but you can certainly get a really deep stretch in this posture. One more breath. And then very carefully placing your left foot back down on the ground. There's no rush to get out of this. Lifting your right leg, uncrossing it, and placing it back down on the ground. And just take a moment to do a quick constructive rest. So feet go all the way to the width of your mat. Knees knock in. You can really feel the difference here again. We're deliberately crossing our knees in. And maybe you actually want to take a windshield wiper here. Moving very slowly side to side. Giving that lower back some love. And then come back to stillness. Keeping your right foot where it is, lift your left leg up to the sky, straight out of the hip socket, and then crossing that. So opening the hip, crossing that so the outside left ankle is on the top of the right knee. Hands through the window if you want to, clasping behind your right knee, and then use your forearm of your left arm to push against the inside of your left thigh. That will give you some more resistance. This can be a lot. So if all you're doing is having your foot remain on the ground, but you're pressing against your left inside thigh with your left leg, that can also be very challenging and very beneficial. So wherever you are, keep breathing. Two more good strong breaths here. And placing your right foot back down on the mat and uncrossing your left and placing your left foot down. Bring both your knees into the chest. And I want to invite you to try something called legs up the wall or waterfall. So I want you to do something right now that is a supportive, restorative posture, preferably an inversion. So you can take your block and place it under your back and do a supported bridge. That's a very restorative posture. and very in theme with our practice tonight. You can also just take your legs straight up from the hip socket wherever you are. Maybe put a blanket or a towel kind of right under your lower back and butt, but just put your legs up to the sky. Now, if you find that right position, especially if you just put your bum to the wall and then legs all the way up the wall, you can really start to feel that weightlessness. Kind of place your hands to your side. I like to place some on my belly, whatever is comfortable for you. If you have a wall nearby, I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. Legs up the wall is so relaxing, reduces stress and anxiety, can hang out there all day. You're working from home now, you can just do your conference calls, legs up the wall. 2 more breaths here. Really bringing the body into that pre-Shavasana trance. Now, if you're really enjoying legs up the wall or waterfall, please stay there. That is absolutely up to you. I'm going to bring my knees into the chest. And then keeping the small of my back on the floor, I'm going to do happy baby. So externally rotating the hips out, arms on the inside, hands on the outside. I grab my outer shin so that my lower back can stay on the floor. And then maybe you rock side to side, keeping your feet flexed, but it's not really an aggressive flex. It's kind of like it's a half and half. It's kind of a point and a flex. Whatever you want to do here, if your body is calling for something I haven't cued, please take that. Remember, this is your practice. Always do what serves you best. When you're ready, come to stillness, bringing your knees back in. If you're moving with me from happy baby, grabbing your knees into a nice big hug, lifting your head off the mat, curling yourself into a tiny little ball, and release everything to the mat, Shavasana. Sinking into the earth, palms face up, legs are turned out slightly at the hips. We are back in our neutral, relaxed, natural posture, just like we started class. And yet, how far we've come. We cannot pour from an empty cup. Take these moments, release the management of the breath, sink into the earth, and just drink it all in. Continue breathing here, and I will let you know when it's time to come back. slowly begin to deepen your breath. Invite movement into your fingers and your toes. Allow that movement to make its way like liquid through you into the center of your body. With the utmost smooth and gentle movements, find yourself on one side and take a breath here. When you're ready, carefully move yourself into a seated posture, keeping your eyes closed if you can. We will prepare to close our practice. Take this opportunity to thank yourself for honoring what your body and spirit needed today. I'm so grateful to have been able to lead you through this practice. Arms up, inhale. Exhale, palms to heart center. Raise your thumbs to your third eye. We bow together. Namaste. Thank you everybody so much for joining. This was my first class on my channel, and I'm just so grateful that all of you were here. I really hope that you were able to get something from this practice, and I am really looking forward to any feedback or comments that you would like to share. So have a wonderful evening. I hope to see you again. Thank you. Okay, I'm hitting the end button.